restricting food restricts life. You want to eat abundantly, to live an abundant life.
It seemed backwards when I lost all the weight just to gain it back, but at the time, that was my only way to move forward. It was unhealthy, but regardless, it healed me emotionally, and the weight of undealt with trauma all my life would have been much more destructive to my health long term. Because of trauma, I was seeing it through the eyes of childhood me, and I needed to go back in order to heal my inner child, to bring her back to life, and I did. And now I move forward, and now I grow up, and now I grow into my adult self. Which often, for a lot of people that struggle with eating disorders, is the scariest thing, to leave behind the childhood comfort, to leave behind anything that's familiar, or even just the entire life being focused on food. When that's all you know, well then it's scary to let go of that because you don't have anything else outside of life. But the only way that you're ever going to build anything else outside of food in your life is to eat enough food to then support a good quality life where there is more to it. But you have to make space for that first, and that requires just simple meals, getting enough fuel, so then you have time to focus on everything else, where you're fueled, where you're at a healthy weight so that you're not focused on food all the time. Because it's not only about eating enough, because even when you're eating enough and you're still underweight, you're still going to have that food focus. Even if you're in a calorie surplus, you're still not going to have as much energy as you'll have once you're at a healthy weight, and you won't be food focused, and you'll be truly satisfied, and you'll have that energy to focus on other things than food, where you then can build a life outside of food. So it's scary to let go of eating disorder because you don't have anything else, but the only way to get anything else is to let go of eating disorder. So you can do it, and it's worth it, and many people have done it, and so can you. And you can help others to do it just by being that beautiful, shining example of what's possible. Through the last admission, I did discover that I can, with time, digest well, like all plant-based whole foods perfectly fine, because once you introduce something into your diet, and well, once you exclude it, it's going to be hard when you first introduce it, but then with time your gut will grow those specific bacteria to digest those foods, and whatever is in your gut, that's what you're going to crave, and that's what that you'll be able to digest. And that's why you don't want the harmful foods in your gut, because then you're going to crave those harmful foods, and those harmful bacteria are going to stay alive, versus when you eat the good food, those good bacteria are going to come alive and they'll fight the bad bacteria. It's all good in your gut. But likewise, so I can digest all whole foods if I wanted to, but like ultimately it's just not the best for me anymore health-wise. Even if I was eating a whole food plant-based diet with all the balanced perfect amounts of whatever the dietitian says is the most perfect ever, it's not, because for me mentally it's a lot harder to make all these perfect balanced meals and grab all these different things when I can just grab one thing, which is the fruit, and load up on that, enough calories of that one thing at each meal, make it super duper simple. The Mother Nature chooses when I want to have, like what fruit I'm going to have. It's whatever is most ripe at that time. Whatever is seasonal, that's going to be the highest quality fruit at that time, the highest energy and the highest nutrients in it, and per calorie, fruit has the most nutrients, the most vitamins, the most minerals. So I know that I'm getting a perfectly balanced meal in that whole fruit, and it doesn't have to be about getting the perfect amount of carbs and fats and everything. You just get the most easy for our body to digest form of energy from the fruit, and you get enough vitamins and minerals, you can get enough hydration, you're not going to be dehydrated, you don't need to have salt and water throwing out your homeostasis balance where you're craving certain foods all the time and always balancing that out. Like I just stay always the same energy, calm all day, not super duper high energy after a meal or before. It's just like always really good, versus like really, really tired after I eat cooked foods, which I still find. Dinner served. I'd rather be consistent and just where I'm at mentally with everything after having already emotionally tried every food that I wanted to try emotionally through bulimia and through recovery so many times.
Peanut butter banana taco quesadilla.
Like I'm over that. All I want is food to be super simple so that life is better outside of food, so you have more time to enjoy life outside of food, because life is not just about enjoying food. And when you eat the foods that give you the best quality of life, which is fruit, the highest frequency, the highest energy, then you're going to have the best quality of life, and that is so much more important than just enjoying different foods. Having the whole foods, I felt the best when I was on like cooked whole foods, if I was having high carb cooked whole foods, because because then it's still like a lot of volume and everything, but then it's still not quite enough volume where you're still adding like the veggies to bulk it up. But when you eat the fruit, like you don't need to even add veggies to bulk up these meals. They're just like the perfect amount of volume for whatever your calorie amount is and whatever your hydration requirements are. It just like, it works so good. Like even if you're an athlete and you would need more calories, well, you also need more hydration. But when you get more calories of fruit, you're getting more hydration. It just works out really good. And where I'm at now, it doesn't feel like I'm missing out on other foods through eating fruit. It's just like me not choosing out of fear, like, oh, I'm gonna choose fruit because I can get physically full off of it, and that's when I'm satisfied, and then I'll move on, and I'm not gonna get unhealthy from eating all these other foods. Like, it's not out of fear, it's out of like love for myself, knowing that fruit is the healthiest, and love because I love fruit so much, because it's literally my favorite food.
The best way to enjoy a pineapple is whole, with your hands, and eat around the core, just as you would corn on the cob.
So I'd rather enjoy more amounts of it, and throughout my life I'm going to get to enjoy the most of it because that's my calorie source of choice, my energy source of choice. That's just what I would prefer to fill up on, even if it was only a small amount. Like, it doesn't even matter about the amounts here, like I would just choose fruit no matter what. People think like, oh, you're missing out on like variety of other foods, but really they're just missing out on variety of fruit because I'm going to get to try like so many more fruits than that person in their life, and that's more exciting to me than any other food. Fruitful life, full on fruit, full of fruit. Fill up, eat as much as you absolutely desire until you are fully satisfied mentally, physically, and soon you'll also be satisfied emotionally, spiritually, socially, on all levels, because diet is the foundation to an optimal life. A great part about fruit for recovery too is that you don't have to like have your meal and then wait for a long time until you're full. You're full physically at the end of your meal, and also around mentally right around the same time. So that's going to make it a lot easier to be listening to your body. Versus in the past, I remember every time my bowl would end, I'd be like sad because I was like still hungry. Like, no, you don't gotta look at a bowl sad after you eat your fruit meal. You're gonna be happy, you're gonna be high on life. And as long as you get enough calories at that meal, you will stay satisfied for a long time after fruit. People just need to eat a lot more, and there's nothing wrong with eating a lot more as long as you're not binge eating like unhealthy cookies and stuff, or binge eating insane amounts of veggies that aren't even gonna give you enough calories to sustain your life. Of course, no food is as unhealthy as no food would be. If you're not getting any food, eat any source of food that you have access to, and the more plant-based, the better. Of course, there's some foods that are going to be ideal, and the most ideal is fruit. It's the most compassionate choice. It's not harming any other beings. It grows abundantly. It's important to eat foods that work with our body's perfect state of health, that aren't gonna throw that out of whack. Like, sometimes that's why people would see even a lot of benefit if they had like a carnivore diet, because they're getting rid of like all the veggies and the that have like anti-nutrients, or they're getting rid of lots of like wheat or gluten or beans and just hard to digest foods. So then they might have benefits. A lot of the time it's like what you're taking out that helps a lot more. So it's not about like, I used to be so obsessed with like, I need every single type of food, I need every single variety of food, I need to have all of this food to make my body perfect, to have perfect health. But really our body already has perfect health, and we just got to make sure that we don't do anything to throw that off. So eat the foods that work with our body, not against it. Fruit works the best. It's so easy for our body to convert fruit into energy. It doesn't break down our body in trying to make protein or fats into energy. So we're instantly going to be energized. We're not going to feel tired after we eat. Some people think that they gain eating very little, but really it's because they're eating more calories. They had something very dense, or they had processed food or something, and that's not going to happen with fruit. Like, you're going to eat the natural amount that your body needs. If you're eating a lot more and a lot more calories, maybe it's because you still have weight to gain. Maybe you're not quite at a healthy weight yet for your body, where you get your period back, where you're not focused on food all the time. And maybe if you don't have much of an appetite and you're full in a smaller amount of it, well, maybe you're overweight at this time. But you want to look at those facts as well, not just listen to your body, but for the most part you do want to listen to your body. And at first it can be helpful to weigh out the bowl of fruit, but it's so easy when you're just doing one fruit at a time, because you just have to weigh it once and then you move on. You don't have to measure like 20 different things. That will help you just to make sure you're getting enough calories at first and know how much that takes with fruit, because it's going to be a lot. But then overall, like, it's so easy to listen to your body with fruit. What I do personally, you can find it below, but I always eat from lightest to most dense. Water-rich things I'll have first. So that'll include like cucumbers and tomatoes and melons, like those are fruits too. So I don't eat veggies really, unless if I do have veggies, it's only like 100 grams at the very end of the day of some sort of veggies, but not like cruciferous veggies and not like root veggies, like everything higher from the ground, the higher vibe it is. So I like to stick to like just like some leaf lettuce or something if I would have something, or like celery. I do eat a lot of fruit veggies, but I'll have them at like the specific time of the day. Like if it's breakfast time, maybe you'd have like cucumber because it's lighter and like a lot of it, like a huge amount of it. And then if it's at lunchtime, maybe I'd be having like lots of sugar snap peas, which are fruit. And if it's at dinner, maybe a lot of corn. It's also fruit, and it's just like sweeter, so more dense. And the more dense it is, the less water it has, but the more calories it has, and the more that you have to eat to get enough calories, of course. So I structure it in that way just because you have the best digestion when you're having the easiest to digest food first. It's going to move through you right away, and then you have empty digestion, good stomach acid, digest the next thing, versus having something really dense, then having something really light, and it's kind of like sitting in the way. Like you want it to always be smooth. So that's why I eat in that way. I just find like my energy is the best that way, and then I want to make sure that I'm getting the most of everything that I'm eating, utilizing every nutrient that is available. And also to stay hydrated, that's also a good amount of like just making sure you're getting enough calories of the fruit, but structuring it in a way that like my breakfast, light density thing, it is a lower calorie meal, but then my lunch and my dinner are very high calorie. And it doesn't really matter, but they're all the same amount of volume because you can only fit so much in your stomach, but I'm staying evenly hydrated with each. So if you want a link to that, make it so that you're consistently hydrated all day, and just like a simple plan of like literally pick one thing of each section at each meal. I already choose it for you, or the seasons will choose it for you, or whatever you have available, or whatever your favorite fruit is, then check out that below. Of course, you can have like 3 fruits, 10 fruits, millions of fruits at the meal every time if you want, but for me personally, like the only time I'm having fruit salad or like even cut fruit is if it's at like I'm out and I get it at a restaurant where it was served at like a family Christmas thing, there's lots of fruit salad or something, then I'll eat a bunch of that. Otherwise, I just stick to the one thing because it's the easiest. It tastes the best in its whole form, and you actually create digestive enzymes just by like picking up the fruit and eating its whole form. It's a lot healthier versus like it already being broken down, even like in blending a smoothie. Then you're not going to produce those same digestive enzymes, and it just takes more work when like you can just peel a banana and eat it, peel a mango and eat it, or eat the kiwi even whole with its skin. Like you just eat the whole fruit. It's so juicy, so delicious, already ready for us, nothing to cook or prep or cut even. So that's what I love about fruit. Super convenient, gives you more time for life. If you do want to be including like dried fruits, then you're also going to need to include water, which I personally don't include water. I just have coconut water if I'm really thirsty, and otherwise just stick to like lots of hydrating fruits and big meals. It can be good like if you're still needing to gain weight on a fruit diet to add the dried fruit in for like maybe just add snacks to your thing, like a whole bag of dried fruit for 3 snacks even, depending how many calories you need, or adding in the juice, or adding like blending smoothies, or even cooking down like apples or something at first if you needed to, just to like digest fiber at first if you're not used to that amount of fiber, which is also where juice comes in handy if you're just not used to that amount of fiber. But if you're not used to that amount of like water volume, if it's not natural to be unhealthy, then maybe you need an unnatural solution, which would be the dried fruit. Then that always comes in handy, and it also gives you like more variety of like ripe fruit all season long. So if that's helpful for you, you can do that, but it's not necessary. You can just add like 6 meals a day of fruits and choose the more dense ones. There is lots of ways around gaining weight on a fruit diet, which I have done. Ultimately, eat the food and move on. Your body knows what to do with nutrition. The only way you can think of other things other than food is when you're eating enough food. It's not binging that is a problem, it's restriction. Also end the binging when you're eating healthy, large amounts of fruit, the perfect amount that we desire, that we need to reach our calorie needs from our natural food. It's obviously the natural amount that we need. It's going to be the easiest to stay healthy and to not focus on food when you always have convenient foods ready for you, and that is fruit, perfectly ripe, ready, prepared for you from Mother Earth. The only time we really enjoy plain whole grains is when we're missing out on our primary source of fuel from carbs, fruit. When you do have a bunch of plain carbs, you get bored of it and you're like adding a bunch of salt to it or a bunch of sugar to it, or like whatever else, herbs and spices to your beans and cooking everything and spending so much time to make it taste good. But like fruit already tastes good. It's the only food that would naturally taste good. I've tried it all. I know how it feels to have the perfectly balanced diet from a dietitian. I know how it feels to maintain as well on a high carb vegan diet or high fat vegan diet or cooked vegan or raw vegan. And ultimately, the best that I've ever found for myself is fruit. Experiment for yourself. There's lots of guides I have below for also experimenting for yourself, because that's the best teacher is your own body and listening to it and listening to nature. Sorry that video got darker. I kept thinking of natural solutions to make the light brighter, so I would just go closer to the window, but you can turn on a light. Sometimes you need an artificial solution, like some dried fruit or some dried juice or blending a smoothie. Give that a try today if you want help supporting the weight gain journey, or getting to only fruit when you're used to small amounts of nothing, which is the standard American diet, which we all deserve to be free from. Nature is here to nurture. Fruit stands out to us. It's so bright, it's so beautiful, it tastes amazing. It's just so obvious that it's our natural food. So easy to grow. When you're struggling with eating disorder, you'll hear it a lot where it's like, just eat. And it's not that simple. Not when you have like all these complicated foods, complicated and everything. But when you just stick with simple foods, stick with nature, it really is that simple. All you do, you just eat it. You grab fruit and you eat it. Like, you don't even have to change anything. You just eat. It is that simple. Nature makes it simple. Trust nature, trust yourself, which is also part of nature. It's actually very affordable when you go to stores and you get the fruit that is, you just ask if there's anything that's like, that's overripe, and they think it's overripe, but it's like perfectly ripe, and it's like all fruit that they're gonna throw out because they don't think they can eat it fast enough. But when all you eat is fruit, you can definitely eat it fast enough, and you can get lots of fruit for like probably only like $5 for like 20 pounds of bananas, or like of whatever they're gonna throw away, of like even fresh berries and everything, and you can get that for even for free. That's what I do a lot of the time. So you're saving a lot of food waste as well, and you're getting the ripest fruit, which is the best tasting and the best quality. And it's going to be whatever seasonal at that time, which is also the best quality. And Mother Nature chooses it for you. Other people choose it for you. You don't even have to choose like, oh, what am I going to eat for dinner? Nature already decided. Like, just makes food so simple. Plus, you don't have to grab like a ton of different fruits if you don't want to, or a ton of different foods to balance the meal. It's perfectly balanced. And you just grab like one ingredient, you eat it until you're full and satisfied. You move on with your day. You have the perfect energy. It's the perfect. And I feel more energy now maintaining on fruit than I did when I was underweight maintaining on fruit, of course. But now I want to see, when I get to like an even healthier weight, if I can feel even more energized, even better at that weight. So that's why, like, you never know till you try. So I'm gonna get there, see how I feel before you disregard it. And same with like treatment. I kind of want to give treatment a try before I disregard it, because it's one that would actually focus on everything, not just the physical, which has been my past experience. Because I definitely don't want to go to treatment to learn about nutrition and stuff, because I've learned all of that already. I know what like feels best to my body. I don't want to go there to like be taught like, oh, like eat these portion meals and challenge yourself with all these different foods at cooking group and stuff, and like make a sustainable meal plan of home of cooked vegan foods, because I've already done that. It doesn't work. I know it works for me, but I at least want to go there just for like the other groups, for gaining the weight, which is important, and for talking like emotionally with everybody and being there to support others in eating food. But ultimately I can do that a lot more online. It's not only just retreats where people come and can do the recovery process with me, where they're like learning what they need to do to recover and like how much fruit they need and everything, and like the activity and like teaching yoga classes and teaching fitness classes. But I would also want to do that not just as like a quick week retreat where they learn what they need and then they just like go along with me online afterwards, but where it could be like an actual center where people can come and restore their weight and stay there for like 3 months and get everything they need, actually recover there and stay recovered at home, know what they need to do at home for it to be sustainable, and to like be there sitting eating with people as the meal support with like fruit bowls, not sitting there meal supporting with everybody at the treatment place with like all these meals and probably dairy and things that aren't aligned with my values, because like we don't need to be hurting another in order to heal ourselves. It just doesn't make sense. But people won't wake up to that yet, so people will do the best with what they know. Everybody in the treatment center that's going to try to help me will be doing the best with what they know from their understanding and try to understand me to the best of their understanding, and I acknowledge and like understand and am thankful for their understanding, and also will accept their
misunderstanding of things and not let that harm me. It's all personal issues, and anything that we see outwardly is always a reflection of the inward. So just working on whatever inward thing I need to heal if I ever find a flaw in someone else. But I just don't agree with people that are like really like they've learned everything by the book all the time, and it's like, but then what if that's just like funded by the dairy industry? And like, it's better to just go with your own knowing and what's worked for you best. But I want to go there and have that emotional support, that accountability for gaining the weight, and that's what I want to give to other people later, and then offer it in a better solution way where it's like the best possible food, which is the highest quality food, which is the fruit, which maybe that's more expensive for some people if you're getting actually really high quality stuff at the store. So that's why they couldn't provide it in the hospitals, and they'll just give you the cheapest stuff, which is like soy and wheat as like the main freaking ingredients that you get in everything, and dairy. So yeah, that's just like what's funded, but I'm gonna have a funded later of like funded fruit, which is gonna be so much more fundamental to sustaining fit fruit freedom for life. And also where my program would be focused a lot on gut health, which is our second brain, and that's like what we eat that affects us emotionally and mentally. That has a huge part, rather than just giving someone like a psychiatric medication to treat our brain. Why not even doing like some probiotics in hospital for a band-aid solution for a little while, but then you don't need probiotics when you eat enough prebiotic rich food, which is the fruit, and you have great digestion. You won't need probiotics, but like they just need to address our second brain, which is our gut. So instead of saying they need to, I can say I need to. I do it for myself, and then I help others to do it themselves, and then I can in turn eventually open up my own place, where people can come and get that support directly from me, and have dietitians there, have counselors, but people that are aware of the fruit diet and its miracles, and people that are spiritual, and people that are connected to their truth selves, to help others connect with their truth selves. In community, we find unity with ourselves, with others, because we are all our soul. I am my soul having a human experience in this physical body, having mental thoughts, feeling emotions, and so are you. So we are all souls. Then we are all the same. We are all one. Gaining weight on fruit is amazing though, because you naturally have the appetite that you need to gain, and there's no symptoms at all, like no bloating, no discomfort. All these things that they say in recovery are like, oh, it's your fault for restricting, that's why you have all these issues. Like, no, it's actually the food causing the issue, which is interesting, because then they treat you with the thing that's just making it worse, and then they blame you, and they're like, oh, because you're having a disorder. It's really backwards. But despite all that, I would still go to treatment because it's the only option to get any sort of mental support, and then go back to what I know is true afterwards. And for other people, hopefully they don't have to do that. They can just stay true to who they are the whole time. I'll be here for that mental support as well, as you do it on fruit from home, most comfort, or with me at the retreat place, or at my place where there's a yoga studio and a gym and fruit everywhere, and fruit orchard, gardening, hiking, beautiful views, mountains. Subscribe to follow my journey, learn the things that have helped heal me so that they can help heal you. Give this video a like, share it with as many people as you can that you think it would benefit. We're all here for each other. I'm here for you. I love you.